Hi everyone. Lately I've been doing a lot of videos that are quite technical, talking about the components of Mac-based architecture. But what's really important to understand is why we're doing it in the first place. Why are people moving towards Mac-based architecture? Why is Mac-based architecture so valuable? And one of those key reasons why many businesses are moving towards headless and moving towards Mac-based architecture is that of agility. And this became really apparent to me when I had a really good conversation with Marcelo on the Headless Creator Channel. We had a great conversation about the intersection of content and commerce. And it's during that conversation that it became really apparent why retailers and why brands are moving towards headless and Mac architectures. If you haven't already visited the Headless Creator site and you're interested in headless content, you should go over and take a look. It's fantastic. Marcelo knows so much about this content. It was a real pleasure to sit and have a conversation with him and get some real insights into the industry. I'll leave the link to the actual video of the conversation that we had. After watching the video myself and reflecting on the conversation with Marcelo, I thought it'd be interesting to pull out the 3 insights which really drive the need for more agility in e-commerce. The first thing that occurred to me was that of the evolving customer journey. The second one was that of the change in the role for content within commerce. And finally, how those 2 factors are actually affecting the key areas in e-commerce itself, such as the product details page. So here's my consolidated views on the intersection of content and commerce and the evolving customer journey in e-commerce. So let's waste no more time. Let's get to it. In the beginning, e-commerce was seen more as an online catalogue. This was due to the translation of the offline world of stores and catalogues into e-commerce websites. It was easy to make websites analogous to the way that we used to shop. And that's why we have words like cart, shopping basket, and checkout in our e-commerce journeys. This is why we ended up with product catalogues, because literally in the past, the only way you could actually find a product was to navigate through the category hierarchies. And believe me, this could be really protracted, really frustrating, leaving many customers just giving up. And during this time, there was very little need for real content. The only content you'd have would be that within the product details page that would describe the product itself. Due to these really frustrating product catalogs, the e-commerce journey started to shift towards efficiency. How could you get a customer from the homepage or the landing page to what they're looking for as quickly as possible with as little friction as possible? We used to have UX guys counting the number of clicks it took to go from a homepage to a product page. This gave rise to some very sophisticated search engines which were able to slice and dice a product catalog. It would take the attributes of a product and turn them into searchable facets, making it much easier for customers to find products. Customer journeys were seen as goal-oriented, and content was limited because it could be seen as adding friction to the overall customer journey. It was limited to just promotional banners, and many of these promotional banners were just small images, and if you were lucky, they would have some click-throughs or call to actions. However, when e-commerce became mainstream and was seen as a major channel, wider uses of content started to be embraced. From telling brand stories to explaining product categories to very sophisticated, deep, engaging experiences for promotions and campaigns. Often this content was injected into the e-commerce experience, usually at the landing page level. As landing pages were seen as the entry points for customers, it was the time to excite and inspire them with new products and new promotions. During this time, there were many brands who even created vast amounts of editorial content, telling stories about their products, telling stories about their brand. But unfortunately, it was often generated in a different website outside of the e-commerce experience. And this is because content was not seen as part of the shopping journey and was still seen as an actual distraction. And it was also really hard to integrate because it was all based in HTML. And things got even more complicated once mobile became the main delivery for digital experiences. And content had to now fit into many different types of devices and screen displays. Content had to be delivered in a more ubiquitous format, and that's where headless CMS and headless commerce comes in. And if we roll forward to today, where digital experiences are now the primary experience, there are some emerging trends that are directly impacting the customer journey and making brands rethink the intersection between content and commerce. One major trend is that the customer journey no longer originates on a specific e-commerce site. It no longer originates at the homepage. It doesn't start on your e-commerce site, especially when the e-commerce site is based on frictionless e-commerce principles, and they're basically catalogs and transaction engines. Many journeys kick off in social media. They kick off in a social post that might be demonstrating the product or giving information about a product, or even just entertaining people in a product category. Products or even categories are being discovered by customers while they're being entertained or even learning something from a video. For instance, I highly recommend if you're thinking about content, you're thinking about commerce, and you're moving towards headless and Mac-based architectures, you should check out Amplience. It is the best CMS for delivering e-commerce experiences, and I'll leave the link in the description for you to follow. Ultimately, you have no control where the customer is going to enter your site, and many times customers are going to start entering your site on the product details page. It's really interesting because customers are going to be entering your product details page without being in the traditional buying decision-making process. They could be right at the start, trying to understand and discover more about the product. Is it right for them? What else should they think about? And should they actually buy it from you? And while this is going on, customers could be in your store, chilling out on their sofa, or even hanging out with their friends. You've got to remember that competition is not just from your direct competition. It's competition from every digital experience, which is at the fingertips of your customers right now. And this is why headless is so important and why we need to be agile. Brands need to start rethinking what the role of a PDP really is. Sometimes product details pages have to excite a customer. Sometimes they have to inform a customer. Sometimes they have to guide a customer. But every time they have to engage a customer. The intersection of content with commerce has moved well beyond just promotions and well beyond just a bit of side editorial content. It has to be deeper, contextual, and be where your customers are. And therefore, it has to be at the product experience level. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to know more about headless e-commerce and you'd like to know more about composable commerce, I'd highly recommend watching these two videos. But for now, it's time to say thank you, goodbye, and I'll see you next time.